everyone, and thank you for joining us for our conversation with director Kyung Sok Kim from the film Furthest From. We are so thrilled to have you here joining us from LA today. And so I'd like to start off, this film was submitted to the festival, and it was just such a wonderful surprise to kind of come upon it. But one of the most surprising things, this film is set in Marin County in Novato in 1999. Which is just a few miles from where I am sitting right this minute,
that's awesome.
in San Rafael. Yeah. And that's obviously such a specific place and time. And so how and why did you choose that setting?
Actually, this story was loosely based on my writer-producer, Rex Reyes. And then he used to live in Novato, California when he was younger. And then just like the story of the film, he was there when he was like younger, and then there was like MTB contamination happening around that area. So yeah, that's why we chose that setting.
I had a feeling that might be the case because I had looked at your bio and seen that you were based in Los Angeles, and but I was like, someone had to have come from this community and
Right.
experienced that directly to pick something though specific. And so yeah, I was wondering if it might have come from him. Because I, after I watched the film, I of course immediately did a Google search to see if there was in fact a water contamination crisis in Novato back then, and lo and behold, there it was. So did you actually shoot the film in Novato, or is that a different location sitting in for Novato?
We actually shot it in Los Angeles, actually Santa Clarita, a little close to LA, a little further out there. Yeah, and then we saw a lot of like pictures that when he like old pictures of his, like when he grew up, and then we found out that the place that he used to live actually became like an empty place right now, and things like that. But we try to bring a lot of things in Santa Clarita, so we ended up making that pink trailer and everything. We painted that. Because we wanted to emulate that the trailer that he was living in back in Novato. Yes.
Well, I have to say though, I mean, it looked very much like it could definitely be here. I mean, it felt the I don't know whether it was the lighting, but also just the general setting, the trees. It very much had a Northern California look. So it was very believable to me that it could have been here. But I figure, given that it was so long ago, I'm wondering, so did you recreate, you said you painted and kind of turned that trailer to look like his, but the rest of the trailer park that you filmed in, that is still
that's
in
Oak
existence?
Grove. Yeah. Oh, sorry to interrupt, but
No, go ahead.
Oak Grove Family Trailer Park in Santa Clarita. Yeah, and then we just brought that trailer and we painted it, and then we put it in the empty spot there. So yeah.
That's what I was wondering, because of course it's the only one that moves in the course of the film, that the other ones stay fixed in place, but it's the only one that ends up moving at the end, which is actually really powerful when you see that empty spot at the very end. It's really meant a lot. So did you encounter any challenges making a period film for more than 20 years ago? Were there certain things that you had to pay close attention to get that right?
Yeah, actually, we encountered a lot of difficulties while we were doing it. We were even thinking about having this as like something that happens in current era, like 2020s or something like that. But we just decided to do. We decided to set the time for the like 1990s, so that we can bring up the authenticity of the film more, because it was, as I said, loosely based on the producer's childhood. But during the process, though, obviously there are a lot of cars in the park, and then it's not like we can control the park, even though like when we got the right to shoot there. So we had to ask a lot. And residents in the park actually helped us a lot. So we are still very grateful for that. But we asked them, we called them if we can move the car, or if they're not there, then we just had to cover that. And then props too, like we had to find all the props, older props, which cost obviously much more money. Yeah, those were the difficulties that we had. But still, like after we finished the film, we were very happy and satisfied that the film turned out to be looking authentic, and it brought a lot of like memories of us. So yeah.
Were some of those people who actually lived there, or were those all actors?
Yeah, some of the residents in the beginning of the film, I'm not sure if you remember, but there's a mailbox, and then there's two ladies in front of the mailbox. They were both residents. And then other than them, I don't really remember. A lot of extras were we got them from actually. They were actors who came all the way to Santa Clarita, or actors who lived there. But yeah, those are two residents that we had in the film. Yeah, other residents we asked if we can shoot them, but a lot of them are not really open to that. They were a little shy, which I understand. So yeah, there were the only two people.
Interesting. But I really loved all of the actors in your film, especially the two young protagonists. How did you cast them?
So casting, we spent a lot of time casting Jessie and Sam, the two older two sisters, because it was really hard to find Jessie. Like Jessie, we had her in our head, all the team members, but it's just hard to find one who can really do that for us. So we spent a lot of time, like we obviously had a casting director, and then we were even thinking about reaching out to elementary schools and do the street casting and things like that. But the miracle happened then, like it was like a month or two before the shoot. Our casting director found Amanda Christine, and then the funny thing is actually she couldn't make it to the audition. This is the funny story. So we emailed her, oh, like you didn't make it, so can we do the Zoom audition? And then we did the Zoom audition, and then she was very mature in that audition. Even though she was like 9 or 10, she was like, I'm very sorry for missing the audition, like blah, blah, blah. And then she did it, and then we just loved her performance. So we brought her to the in-person, it was obviously before the COVID, in-person audition. And then she was really great. She was pulling off everything. So we did some like chemistry audition too with the older sister. Yeah, and then yeah, it worked out that way. Older sister too, we had some struggles because we reached out to some actresses, and then they ended up not being able to participate because of the other projects, like schedule issue or like visa issue. So we struggled, but we found Jasmine, like, right after we found Amanda Christine as well. We did the chemistry test, and then it worked out so great. So that's how we cast both actors.
Yeah, they were really amazing. I mean, certainly Amanda was just remarkable in that role. Just really wonderful. So were there any particular challenges or benefits to working with kids as your lead actors? A lot of people say, never work with kids and animals, but
that's
so many great, but yeah, and there's so many great kid performances. So I wonder, what is that like on set?
The another funny thing is that we had both kids and animals in our film. There was a dog. Sadly, she was cut out a lot after the first cut and editor's cut. But we had a full scene with the dog as well. It was Mr. Harris's dog. But the older gentleman in the movie, it was supposed to be his dog, but it got cut out a lot. And then she actually passed away a year ago, which is a sad thing. But working with kids, I worked with kids even before this. In South Korea, I was shooting a film with kids. But it was the first time to shoot with a bunch of kids, and then having a kid actor as a main character. But I learned a lot through the process. Obviously, the challenging part is that, the times are restricted, and then we end up spending more money because we need more rules, and we need more shooting dates, and then like a studio teacher and all that. But what I learned through the process is that how you direct kid actors. First we did like additional photography after like 2 days of additional photography after the 6 primary shoot dates. And then in the primary shoot dates, I was giving them a lot of like detailed directions, like even the blockings, like, do this way, go that way, things like that. But, when I watched a rough cut after the primary shoot, I realized that, some of the blockings that I give specific directions to were not really working well, because like it ended up being like robotic, and then it lost that authenticity during the process. So in the additional photography, I try to give more like space to the kid actors, and then just let them play throughout the scene, rather than giving like too many specific directions. And then it worked out really well. So that's the thing that I learned. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was wondering, that with that opening scene of them playing, of, how much of that was actually like, choreographed, and how much was just them, just playing and being free, and so that it would feel authentic, because it felt very authentic. Like you could, just very free.
All the scenes actually happening in the yard, they were improvised, which is very interesting because, obviously when you're working with Steadicam operators, sometimes they don't really want to do the improvisation too much, because they don't know where the actor will go. But that scene in the yard, actors were just playing the game that we created. And then Steadicam operator had like no idea where they would go. And then, he basically had to like follow them, like almost like improvisation. And then I think that had like the sort of power, like authentic power, because like no one knew what they would do. No one, even the kid actors didn't know what they would do. The cinematographer, even I didn't know what they would do. And then I think that was captured very well. So that's what we were very satisfied with.
Yeah, well, it really set the tone for the film so well too, of just, that sense of, play and freedom, that felt very specific to that community too. That was the other thing that I thought was really interesting too, that trailer parks, I feel like, often kind of get a bad rap of, what a trailer park is. It sort of has a negative image, and, it felt like you really kind of captured this sense of community and it being torn apart, and how important that was. Is that something that you were, was really, an important thing, particularly for Rex, to want to portray in the story?
Right, because Rex was growing up in a trailer park as well, but he really missed that time a lot, and then he had a beautiful memories growing up there. So we wanted to break the kind of how do you say, like prejudice against trailer park and things like that. So that's why the Oak Grove trailer park in Santa Clarita, we really liked that place. Because like when we went there, when we location scouted there, it just looked beautiful already, in the field and everything, and the trailers there. It looked like a sense of community there. Kids were playing in the park as well, and that it gave us like that good vibes that we want to have in the film. So yes.
Yeah, it was really nice. It almost felt like camp. So the cinematography and the lighting in the film was also just really beautiful. It sort of felt like you kept capturing that like magic hour light, and just really, it was that challenging to be able to get the good light that you needed. And who did your cinematography that it just really looked gorgeous?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our DP is Tech. He's Singaporean. He's back in Singapore now. He's shooting a bunch of films there, but he's great. Yes, and a lot of scenes we didn't shoot it chronologically, because we had our time limits, and as you said, like magic hours, things like that. We wanted to have that moment in the right time frame of the day. And the funny thing is, like the first draft, actually, when you read if you read the first draft of our film, most of the scenes were written as like a golden hour. So like 80% of the film were golden hour, and then we were like, oh, like there's no way that we can do that.
Right.
And then we ended up changing the time frame and everything, but still we had a lot of golden hour, only because like, as you may know, shoot it in golden hour can bring a lot of that particular feeling of like how to say, like yearning, and then things like that, emotions like that. So we shot a lot in that time period. And then the lighting, since you mentioned, we used I forgot the name of the lighting. It was sodium vapor or something. Yeah. It's been a while, so I kind of forgot the name of the light itself. But that's the kind of popular lighting back in the 1990s. So we brought that, and then we lighted the park itself, so that we can have that like 1990s feeling as well.
So how big of a crew did you have to support you in making this film?
I believe it was something like 100, like something like 100, I think, around that. Yeah, it was. Yeah, there were a lot of crews on set. I think it was, including the cast, I think something like 70 to 80, and then obviously there's more who helped the pre-production and post-production. But on the set, I think something like 70 or 80. Yeah.
Wow. So this was a project that you and Rex did while you were at AFI, at the American Film Institute.
Right, as a thesis project. Yes.
So and they it sounds like they provide a lot of really great support in helping you make those films.
Yes, AFI provided us some amount of money as well, and then obviously all the camera lenses we had to borrow outside, but a lot of lighting gears, and then crew members. A lot of them were from AFI, so we got a lot of support. Yeah, and then also from mentors. Yeah, professors.
Really nice. So. Are you making other films now? I mean, this was 20. I mean, I guess, did you shoot it? You said you shot it pre-pandemic. So
right.
Have you been able to continue working on other projects since then?
Yeah, right now I'm working on writing scripts, feature scripts. One of them is a sci-fi, and then the other one is like more like an independent coming of age story, kind of similar to this one. But that's what I'm currently working on right now.
Nice. And has this film shown in Marin before, in Novato or anywhere near it?
No, actually, this is the first time screening near the area. So yeah, we're very excited.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the film regardless, but it was just such a, like, it's so rare that you see something that's so specific to, the community that you're in, particularly that has been, shot outside of here. So it was just, I think that's a great thing for our audiences to be able to see.
Yeah, we have the region even written in the log line of the film too. Our log line starts like in 1999 in Novato, California. That's how our
I know, that's why I read it in your submission, and it totally struck me. I was like, well, that's so specific. Yeah. But I loved that. I loved that, like you said, and to go back even what you were saying about the lighting, it gives that sense of nostalgia. And I think that that's a huge part of what this film really brings is, that Rex really obviously brought to the script too. And it definitely evokes all of that without having experienced it myself. It felt, like you could see how that was like, fond memories of childhood were really captured there. So just one final question before we have to wrap up. But so what would you actually most like viewers to take away from this film, particularly younger viewers who might be watching this, particularly in our education program and our younger audiences?
Yeah. When I was younger, and even now, me and a lot of my friends and Rex and our team members, I think we're all the same, but we're sometimes afraid of new changes that's coming to you. Personally, I have been living a life where I have to like live constantly. Korea, China, Japan, like the States. And even in Korea, I had to move like 10, like 15 times. Our house had to like relocate all the time. And then that can frighten you, and then that can scare you a little bit, the changes that come to you. But I think while you're watching the film, I think you can kind of get the courage to, come to terms with the changes around your life. And then it's not so bad to, experience the changes, because it can mean something to you. And then you can grow during the process. So that can be the takeaway from the film, especially younger viewers.
Yeah. No, that's so great. Well, thank you so much for the beautiful film. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.